It's a pleasure to get to know you through the LDL program that the ESNCM and PalMusic have put together for the children. I've had a glimpse of your creativity, your energy, your love for music. And this is an interview to get inside of who you are, for us to get to know your music and what inspires you. So, Mahmoud, just to start with, how did the guitar journey start with you?
Well, thank you, Sam. It's a pleasure to know you too. Uh, 11 years ago, when I was walking on my city, I found a guitar that was displayed in the supermarket. So I decided to buy it. But unfortunately, this guitar was just a children toy. In any case, I decided to learn to play guitar. And I was 19 years old. Uh, So I bought this guitar, the children toy, and I searched for a teacher in Gaza City to teach me how to play classical guitar. And exactly, I was looking for a classical guitar teacher, not folk or flamenco or funk guitar. But I didn't found a classical guitar teacher.
How did the desire for classical guitar, why was that born, not something else?
Because I searched on internet about guitar. So when I have heard the first time the classical guitar and the sound of classical guitar, also the technique, so you can say I was in love in this instrument or in this style.
Okay.
So I researched online. I bought some books for guitar and some videos lesson, and I start learning alone for 1 year. After 1 year, I recorded 3 videos for big three pieces of a classical guitar. And my guitar teacher, Pedro, found these videos on internet. And he called me, and he was the teacher who teach guitar at the Edward Said National Conservatory of Music, Jerusalem branch. And we had a Skype meeting. After this meeting, he talked to Sohail Khouri, the general director of the conservatory, and told him about me. So Sohail decides to give me a scholarship to study at the conservatory. But you know, the situation between Gaza and Jerusalem is hard to go there. So we start study online. He started teaching me online through Skype for 4 years. And after this, I became a teacher at the Edward Said Conservatory. I attended to the exam. I got grade 8 with grade A. It was an amazing exam. I got the certificate. And when I start study with Pedro online, we can say the real study or the real classical guitar performance start with me. I was study fastly, going and develop fastly, and I was a good student, in fact, because I was in love in this instrument. I was practice a lot, like sometimes 6 hours, sometimes 9 hours per days. So
Wow.
I start like this, start playing guitar.
Fascinating, and fascinating also that you were into online studying long before it became the world's kind of way of dealing with the virus. In many ways, Gaza is a pioneer of all this, and you
Yeah,
particularly.
yeah,
Can I ask you? Um, so you say that you've had teachers around you through Zoom, through other things, but you're actually also self-taught in many ways.
yeah.
Would you say there are advantages, disadvantages for being self-taught? How how has that laid the foundation for who you are as a creative mind and a musician and a human being? Because I find just because you're studying with someone, it doesn't necessarily teach you how to think for yourself, to find the motivation to dig deep. And in many ways, I think being self-taught teaches you exactly that. That
Yeah.
sometimes when you're studying with a teacher, the lessons are almost too easy. I don't know what your thoughts are about this. As a teacher and as someone who's been having to rely on themselves all your creative life.
Well, in fact, when you begin a self-thought, this give you the opportunity to find yourself and find your talent very well before anyone tell you who you are or where is your talent. Uh, in the beginning, I found myself very hard study students, you know, and uh, became a self-thought, pushing you always to study hard because you didn't get the chance to study with teacher or you didn't get the chance to study at college or anywhere, so you need to tell all about yourself, about you, and about your thoughts, about your strength in learning and the performance. And this was an amazing experience for me. It let me know who I am as a musician, who I am as a guitar performer, you know. So to give you a big opportunity to find yourself exactly where's your talent, where's your positive energy, where's your negative points that you need to develop before your teacher telling you. So it was a very amazing experience to me. I know, I think this experience that make me a good guitarist and give me a lot of energy to be a good guitarist, you know. I was sometimes I'm thinking, what if I studied at conservatoire or with a teacher?
Yeah.
I will be as Mahmoud now or another one, maybe another one, maybe one less than today, maybe just a good guitarist, not a professional one. Maybe I didn't become a teacher. So it's good. It's good experience, and I like it, and it's made me who I am now.
Great, great. Very inspiring and
Yeah.
very thought provoking. This love and this passion and this self reliance is very inspiring. And I think this takes us on to the next um, things I'd like to talk to you about. So, this is you, and this is your relationship with your guitar. Now, I've observed you with your students and your teachers through the LDL program. And I'm again struck by the very positive energy and discipline that you've created for those children of varying ages. Can you tell us a little bit about your approach to the teaching of those children and the relationship that you have with them?
Yeah. First, uh, I remember myself when I start study without teacher and how much it was hard. And of course, these students need a good teacher or need someone who push him and give him the techniques, teach him how to play this instrument, because you know classical guitar, it's like a very weird instrument in Gaza because it's a classical Eastern instrument. It's not like the Arabic traditional instrument. You can found any teacher here for Arabic instrument, but for guitar, I remember myself, as I told you, I was without a good teacher or without a teacher. So these students need a teacher, a good teacher to teach him, to start teach them. So I started teach them as what I wanted before. You know, when you remember yourself as a self learner or self thought, and now you in the situation that you are the teacher and you need to teach these students and give them a good chance to be a good guitarist. And as you mentioned, we have different ages. We have like 6 7 until 11 12 13. So uh, this teacher give this students give me a lot of inspiration, a lot of chances to remember myself and develop myself again. You know, when you become a teacher and spend your time, your all time in teaching, you will be not a good performance, you know, because you didn't perform a lot. So when I perform with the students and teach students, I'm teach myself again also from the beginning. So I will stay in the good level. All of them inspired me a lot because you know you found a good one or not good one students. When I found a students that have who have a bad technique or one technique is need to develop, it's inspired me or pushed me to compose a piece, a small piece for this student, especially for these students. And this techniques must have this piece must have the technique. And I will name the piece with like his name. So the like last piece for my students, she's name is Mice. I compose a small piece for these students, and I call the piece Mice. And I start teach these students this piece, and now the technique is good with this students and great. And she was very happy, and also I was very happy because I composed something new. She pushed me to compose the music. I get the inspiration from her, and this is an amazing also experience to be a teacher, and like the only teacher in the city who teach the students and teach himself again and get inspiration from the students. And as you know, as you mentioned, when we start teach the students with through the LDL program now, it's begin a bigger teaching process and amazing experience when the students have two different teachers.
Yeah, I suppose the next step is to encourage Mace to compose her own piece,
Yeah,
to really become creative. I suppose, um, is there an aim that is bigger than the guitar itself
yes,
that is driving all this?
yeah. You know, if we want to talk about aims when it's come to performing on the guitar, especially in performing in the guitar and introduce the pieces that you want to play, for example, for audience. Uh, Always, I feel the main aim is to share this culture or share the classical guitar culture here in my city. You know, all here think about guitar as just an accompaniment instrument playing some chord with some rhythmic pattern, and they know nothing about classical guitar or classical guitar pieces. So this is my aim when I play to the audience or the students. I need to share this great and amazing instrument and its culture. Uh, it was hard in the beginning because the audience here is not a good listener to classical music, especially classical and baroque music. They like romantic music, flamenco music. They like Arabic music a lot, and this was the approach, or this is what pushing me to write my first book. My first book was 13 Arabic songs arranged for classical guitar. So I took some Arabic songs from our culture and I arranged this piece using the technique that we use in classical guitar performance and classical pieces. And I start introduce these pieces step by step until I arrive a good level of listening with the audience inside the conservatory and outside of the conservatory. So my main aim is just to share this amazing instrument here and let the people here know more about classical guitar.
Well, it's a simple aim, but it's a powerful aim,
Yeah,
and it's an aim that expands people's minds and lives.
exactly.
We're going to come back to composing in a second, but you're going to play a short piece for us on the guitar. You're recording this, and I will
Yeah.
put this inside this interview. Can you tell us a little bit about the piece you're going to play?
I will play a piece called Endecha by Spanish romantic composer Francisco Tarrega. It's this piece is like an national hymn,
A national what?
a national hymn. Uh, yeah. So
Hymn.
him. Sorry, him. So this is a short piece, but very beautiful piece and very deep and rich sounding piece. It's composed by Spanish classical romantic composer Francisco Tarrega, who the guy who will always compose for guitar. I will record this piece shortly today and send it to you, of course.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you so much. So
you're welcome.
here is Mahmoud playing some beautiful notes for us. Okay, so thank you so much for taking the
You're
time to
welcome.
to record this for us. Can we talk a little bit about your composing now, how it's developing? Um, I, I'm very happy that through the LDL program, you've struck up some new relationships apart from the performing that you've done on various Zoom platforms. You've also chosen to develop your composing with Julian Broughton, with Hutaf Khouri in Lebanon.
Yeah.
And of course, we never forget that the best work comes from inside you. And so you've been writing a new piece. Can you tell us the difference between writing for the guitar and now you've taken it to a completely new level, haven't you?
Yeah, there is a big difference between writing for guitar or writing for other instrument. In the beginning, I was writing for guitar. I was trying to write music. In the middle of my learning, uh, I found myself love composing a lot, love this orchestral sound, orchestral music. I was thinking a lot in the composing and ask myself a lot of question how the composer composed this piece, how they compose it. I need to compose music. I like composition a lot, especially orchestral music. So I was trying to compose, in fact. I need to mention that I get a lot of scholarships, around the 12 scholarships to go out to study composition. One of them was a big scholarship at Berkeley College. But you know, the situation again here, I didn't get travel. I can't travel, go out of Gaza. So I was very sad for this. After this, I decided to study composition. I enrolled the study online at Berkeley College again to study composition. One of my composition, well, one of my assignment, let's say assignment, this was an assignment, a weekly assignment in the 4 level or 4 years of my study. after I start study, if you remember, when I asked you about a good music composition teacher, you mentioned me Hotaf Khouri from Lebanon, and also you give me the opportunity to study with Julian Broughton inside the LDL program through PalMusic. So I take this assignment, the fourth assignment, and I start develop this assignment with the Hotaf and Julian. And this assignment became a big piece of music, 10 minutes of music. And this is the first time when I write a big piece like this. All my piece was 1 minute, 1.5, 2 minutes in max. And maybe for one instrument, two instrument, maybe for a small band. But when I composed this for a strings orchestra and 10 minutes of music with the three movements, it was an oracle. So I called this piece an oracle. I was very happy with this piece. It was my first time to compose a big piece like this. And in fact, as we mentioned, it's very different to compose for guitar for one instrument and to compose for an orchestra like strings orchestra or full orchestra. When you start know and study about new instruments, the color of sound, timbre of instrument, techniques, new techniques on a new instrument, it's make you a better musician and a better performance. I need to mention this. When you hear another instruments or especially the orchestral music and know more about other instruments, you will be better performer. And this pieces or composing for this instrument or hearing this instrument and this pieces make you richer as a musician. Now, for example, after being a composer and compose for other instruments, for example, my phrasing in music became a better, my sound production became a better. So I feel sometimes when I'm playing a new piece, I feel myself like a conductor or a composer who composed this piece because I know every single notes inside this piece, and I know when the composer wrote this chord or this note or this phrase, I know what he was meant when he wrote this. So when you perform as a composer, perform a piece as a composer, it's completely different than a performer. It will be a lot better.
I think that's great to hear from you. Really, Mahmoud, great. And it's very easy to forget when we look from the outside into the creation of something, the composition or any challenge that we set, the the insecurity, the fear of failure that we have to overcome in order to dig and find out what we are truly
Exactly.
capable of, that we never discover unless we try.
Yes.
Um, and if you can share this with all your students, this desire to improve and become a richer human being and musician through overcoming those fears and those challenges that you set yourself, really, Mahmoud, you are giving so much to your
Thank
students
you.
and to life. Um, so we're going to hear the oracle. This will be put in a link in the newsletter. Just to remind that this is still a computer
Yeah.
composition, and we both dream that soon the world situation will improve with the coronavirus, and that live musicians will bring your
Yeah.
piece to life
Yeah.
in all senses of the word. Um, so we recently, you have a few months ago, you became the head of the guitar department at ESNCM.
Yeah.
Um, has that changed the balance of work for you, or is it not such a big
Yeah.
development for you?
It's it's not a such big development for me, but it's a great experience to start or to be a head of department at a big conservatory like our conservatory here. When you have five branches, and each branch you have a guitar department, and you will be the head of department to give you a good experience and a good chance to share what you know and to develop as you want other department or other branches guitar department. For example, when I became a head of department, I start spread the LDL program for other branches inside the conservatory. In the beginning, it just was for Gaza branch. Now it's for all branches, and I say spread this program, and we have another students from other branches. And when it started, I found a great students and amazing students there, and we start focus on these students more and give them more lessons, more exercises, more pieces, and try to make them better in performance, in guitar performance. I'm happy by this situation. I'm happy to be a head of department because I'm looking to develop a lot. I start developing a lot. I made a lot of workshops for guitar. I spread the LDL program there. Now I'm in touch with all teachers and all students. I know every single student there. I know about his level. So also I know about the teacher. I have a lot of meetings with teachers. We developing together the department, and this is an amazing. But it's take a lot of time from my teaching, composing, study, reading about the music. It's spent a lot of time, so now my level of performance going down, down, down,
Well,
because
yeah, maybe that's a challenge for you. I
yeah,
suppose if you look at it um, as an extension of the way you deal with
yeah,
people, of your organizational skill,
exactly,
so that you become more efficient. Maybe in the long term, this will help your playing because
yeah,
you become, well, you're becoming even richer.
yeah,
Maybe not in the orchestral sense, but in the people sense.
yes. This is what I'm looking about, and well, this is what I'm developing now. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Mahmoud, thank you for your
yeah,
generosity
very welcome.
and for your creativity and your passion and love for music and for people. Um, so we leave you. Please check out the Oracle on the link in the
Yeah.
newsletter. And Mahmoud, all the best to you and your students and all you give to life.
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Wissam.